Hey folks, you know, van life isn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes things go wrong.
And in this video, we'll show you some of the situations we've encountered over the years and the lessons we've learned from them.
I do want to apologize for all of the background noise. We are boondocked in Philadelphia, and it is not really possible to find any place that's quiet in Philly. So we came here to Fairmount Park thinking it would be quiet, but we got a bunch of birds tweeting up there.
It's beautiful.
We got the Schuylkill Expressway down there. Every once in a while a train goes by, whatever. So the first time we ever had a problem on the road was quite literally 20 years ago. Our very first trip in our Astro van. We were driving across the country. We made it almost to Eureka, California, and our transmission decided to commit suicide.
It died.
We were stuck on the side of the road. I think it was the 101.
We are about 5 miles from Eureka, California, and our van lost its transmission. So currently we are being towed by AAA, and we'll probably be spending an extra day in Eureka. So
At least.
So happy Valentine's Day. At least we'll be together.
We called a tow truck from AAA, and a tow truck came out and towed us to a hotel that was right next to an Amco transmission place in Eureka, California.
And we got there on a Friday. So we went to the transmission place on Saturday, and he's like, bad news.
Hi.
Hi.
Come on in. I don't have very good news for you.
Well, I didn't think you would.
And unfortunately, because it's all-wheel drive, it's more expensive on the removal side of things because there's more to do. I would guess that it's going to be about $2,200. The worst news, I can't get you on the road till Wednesday.
Wednesday, huh?
Yeah.
That's today, Saturday.
So we had to stay in Eureka, California 5 or 6 nights.
Yeah, which is not the worst thing in the world. Eureka's a pretty nice place. We had our dogs and our cat with us, and we just had a Valentine's Day kind of vacation there in Eureka back in 2004. Valentine's Day weekend.
$2,500
Yeah,
Valentine's Day.
$2,500 Valentine's Day weekend. Or week, really. Our first trip in our van before we even started outfitting it.
It was an empty van.
It was an empty van, and we had some prototype furniture in there that we were just testing out. Good morning.
Good morning. It's chilly.
Where are we?
We are parked beside the road by Navajo Lake Dam in New Mexico, and we had a rough night. We got our van stuck in a sand trap, and it took us 2 hours in the dark to get it out. Glenn had to dismantle this bed and use the wood from the bed to stick under the tires, and then we had to use our brand new floor mats to wedge under the tires and try to back up that van, and it was quite an ordeal in the dark.
I had built a bed out of like used OSB scrap lumber, just to test out where the bed was going to be and the height and everything. And I had a Leatherman, and I used the Leatherman to take all the screws out of the bed that I had built, and we used the sheets of OSB from the bed and stuck them under tires, and that's how we eventually got out of the sand.
It took a while.
It took a while, yeah. So last night we came down this road, and we decided it might be a good idea to go up here. It looked nice and solid. We got to this point, and then it became mayhem.
This is how deep the sand is. I'm standing right now. I'm standing. Yep, and Glenn held us cool together, so that was really good.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not, he held it together. So, and that's where we are.
So I bought traction mats. I bought a 40-foot tow rope. I also bought a 3,000-pound come along. I have all that stuff
That we've used to help other people get out.
That we have used to help other people.
Because it's going to come back. We're going to need help.
That's right. You always help somebody when you see them stuck, because someday you're going to get stuck. And the other thing is, instead of looking up a sandy road and go, oh, that looks pretty firm, we stop the van now, we get out,
don't trust it.
And you walk the road and you test it before you drive up there.
Because we do not have 4-wheel drive.
That's right.
We don't.
Hey guys, it's Nita from CubbyVanLife, and I'm taking over the camera right now because the Cubby Van got its first flat. Yeah, flat. So let me show you what's going on.
got our first flat in the Cubby van, and if I had just put the spare on, it would have been no problem, but we decided to plug the tire and fill it with air.
And we found some really nice guys right next to us who had a compressor in the back of the truck. So they're graciously helping us pump up our van, and we'll be on the road.
It took us like 5 of us to get the plug in. Finally got the plug in, and then my 2,000 watt inverter just kept overloading. It wasn't enough power to run a full-size air compressor. So in the end, what we ended up doing was plugging the tire, putting 30 pounds of air pressure in it. That's all we could get. Put it in the van. We went ahead and put the spare on, and now we'll go out and look for a tire store, some place to fill that tire up, put it back on. And the other thing I learned being that close to the tire and that intimate was I really need new tires. The tires I got in this van were crap. They have less than 30,000 miles on them. They're totally worn down. So we're gonna have to get new tires anyway. So thanks to some kind souls. When you're traveling many, many times, you must depend on the kindness of strangers.
So that's it. That's the excitement for today in the Cubby van.
Okay, so here's another one. We've had a number of medical issues on the road over the last 20 years, particularly with dogs. I could give you about 5 stories of Charlie, how we ended up at a vet somewhere in the middle of nowhere. But I'm not going to talk about that story. We're going to talk about a medical issue that happened in Baja, California.
In Mexico.
Nita had a cough for like a month that she couldn't get rid of. And we took a couple different COVID tests to make sure it wasn't COVID. It was not COVID. So I said, I got to get you to hospital. We have to take you to a doctor. So we went to the hospital, and they took her right away in the emergency room. And they kind of examined her, and they said, this is some type of allergy related to asthma. So they gave her an asthma inhaler. They gave her a shot in the butt, and they said, here, this should fix you up. You should start feeling pretty good. Well, over the next 3 days, she just went off the cliff and got worse and worse. And on the 3rd day, we were in a very remote location and woke up in the morning, and she couldn't even speak.
I got to the point where I couldn't focus my eyes, I couldn't speak, and he had to help me because I could not get up.
It wasn't good. I mean, I thought she was dying.
But I do remember laying there thinking, I don't think I'm strong enough to survive. Like, I don't think I have the will. I was laying there thinking, this might be it. This is the end. Wow. I wrote a goodbye letter to him.
Yeah, she actually wrote me a goodbye letter. Believe me, it was very, very scary in Mexico for this to happen. So we drove a couple hours back that morning. First thing I got up and took her back to the hospital. And I don't speak Spanish, but I used Google Translate, and I dictated a long story of what had happened. I told them about being there 3 days earlier. Whatever they gave her did not work. In fact, it seemed like it made her worse possibly. We went in there, they took her right in. They took a chest x-ray of her lungs, and he said, you have an acute infection in your lungs. He said, this is not an allergy, this is not bronchitis, this is a lung infection. And again, gave her a shot in the butt and gave her some oral medicine right there, and then gave us some prescriptions. She took the medication. She slept like the whole rest of that day. And the next day she was like 85% better. And she just started getting better over the next few days, and it cured her.
But I do remember getting better, you know, and then finally I could have some delicious fish tacos.
Vamos a comer tacos de pescado.
That's right. That was the first meal once you felt better, was fish tacos.
Go to Mexico, get some fish tacos.
They're the best ever.
They're the best ever.
Yeah.
$1.
I also learned, before you get sick, always know where a hospital is, so in case you need an emergency.
I really recommend getting some kind of health insurance, or if you get auto insurance, make sure there's some kind of rider that they'll take you out of there, you know, because you might need to come back to the U.S. Because we had another episode in Mexico 30 years ago where we had a motorcycle accident and I smashed my face. Yeah, and I had to be air-vacked out of there.
We had to be air-vacked.
That's a different story.
That's a different story. And the last big problem that we had in our van took place just last year in Olympia, Washington, just 70 miles south of Seattle, where her brother lives, and we were going to visit her brother. And we boondocked one night in a Cabela's parking lot.
Thank you, Cabela's.
In the morning, I got up, I looked at my van, and I could see something leaking from underneath the van. And I said, what is that? What that is, my friends, is antifreeze fluid. And this is what it's from. A rock punctured my radiator. Now we're sitting here waiting for a tow truck.
Not good.
Not good at all. So let me just tell you that AAA was not very fun. It was a Sunday morning. We were in Olympia. We needed to be towed 70 miles to her brother's house just north of Seattle. And 2 hours later, AAA still couldn't find a tow truck.
Nobody was willing to tow us 70 miles and back.
No, so somebody from AAA called me and said, hey, I got bad news, Mr. Hughes. We can't find a single tow truck driver who's willing to tow you 70 miles on a Sunday morning. And I said, so what are we going to do? He said, I don't know what to tell you. And I said, if I get my own tow truck out here, will you reimburse us for it? And they said, sure. I called and I had a tow truck in like 10 minutes. The tow truck driver said, what's the problem? I said, I have a hole in my radiator. I'm leaking radiator fluid. And he took one look at it and he said, that's not radiator fluid, that's transmission fluid. I said, the hole's in my radiator. He said, nope, that's your transmission cooler. Your transmission cooler is parked in front of your radiator. And so I was leaking transmission fluid. We got the Cubby van up on the back of that tow truck, and we had it towed 70 miles to Nita's brother's house in Woodinville, Washington.
And he came down, he drove 70 miles down and picked us up and drove us back. I love my brother.
Yes.
You have to depend on the kindness of
family.
And strangers. Everybody,
yeah.
Depend on everybody.
Yeah, so
take advantage of everybody.
Yeah, so they towed us back to the cul-de-sac, and then we spent the next day or two just calling garages, and nobody wanted to take the van because it's a high top and they couldn't fit it in the garage, or they were booked for the next month, whatever.
And we found an auto body shop that was willing to do it.
Yeah.
And they did it within probably 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days. But they had a problem with Allstate reimbursing them, but everything worked out.
Yeah, I have had problems with AAA twice.
We have AAA Plus.
Yes, we have AAA Plus RV. And twice in our 20-year experience, they have not been able to find a tow truck for us. The first time we waited 4 hours until AAA told us they couldn't find anybody to come out. We were in Virginia Beach, and we were in our Subaru Forester, towing our Tab teardrop trailer. We were just about to get onto an on-ramp onto the interstate, and the engine died. And I was able to pull over, but we were stuck on an on-ramp. And we called AAA. We said we have RV Plus. It includes towing of the trailer.
We had a little Tab trailer.
They came out with a single tow truck to tow the car, and they said, we'll send somebody else out to come and tow the trailer. 4 hours later, we're still sitting there in the dark now on the on-ramp. Finally, a police officer comes and says, you need to get this trailer off of the on-ramp right now. And we said, for 4 hours, we've been trying to get a tow truck out here. And she's like, I'll get a tow truck out here right now. She gets on the horn. Within 15 minutes, a city tow truck was there towing our trailer. They charged us $500 to tow that trailer to a dealership where the other tow truck had towed my car. And we spent the night in the trailer in front of the dealership. But the next day we got up and we were on the road thank God they were able to fix it pretty quick, because all it was a loose spark plug wire.
That's all it was.
The guy went, but yeah, guess what? Your car's fixed.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. Lesson learned. Open the hood and take a look before you call the tow truck. So the lesson that I have learned from the experience is when AAA takes more than half an hour to find someone who's willing to come out and tow you, you just call your own tow truck and you get reimbursed. You make AAA reimburse you. So that's something I learned. So that's it, folks. I think that's it. Anything else?
Yeah. We'll see you down the road.
We'll see you on the road.